Hi, this is Carolina from eXp Realty, and I just wanted to hop on here and share with you 5 tips to get ready to start looking for your home. So tip number 1 is talk to somebody you trust and know who has gone through the process already. Hopefully they've done it recently and they're in your area, but listen to their story, listen to what their experience was like, how lengthy it was, if they worked with a particular professional that they liked, whether it was a real estate agent or a real estate lawyer. Listen to those recommendations and just go from them, right? That goes into second step number 2 or tip number 2, which is to go ahead and find the real estate professional that they recommended, if they recommended one, or if they didn't, go ahead and search for one, either via browsing through listings and then calling the listing, being connected to somebody, and then go ahead and go on that person's page, either realtor page or Street Easy page or Yelp reviews page, so that way you can learn a little bit about what previous experiences has been for other customers of that particular real estate agent. I think you want to make sure that you're working with somebody that's communicative, that's organized, that keeps on top of their stuff, and that takes their profession seriously, in the sense that there's a lot of people who do this very part-time, which is great, but they need to be engaged in the profession and they need to know where the market is at. And that, of course, is going to translate into them being communicative and knowledgeable. That's going to have several advantages for you. Well, clearly somebody that's knowledgeable in the market is going to have a better sense of where you want to go in your offer once you find the property that you want, right? They're going to have a better sense of what's happening with the prices, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. They can run a very thorough comparative market analysis that is going to be able to provide you some specific data to feel confident about the offer that you're putting in. And number 2, that they're timely, because that's going to be advantageous not only for you, because they should be able to get back to you very promptly with whatever inquiries you have, but also because when you're dealing with that transaction and the agent doesn't respond quickly enough, that can actually be a very deterring factor for a deal. I have worked with one of the attorneys, Jacob Davidoff, who specifically says, time is a killer of all deals, and we find this to be true. You want somebody that's on their game, that is communicative and responsive. The third tip is do your research. I'm sure you're probably doing this already. That's how you ended up viewing this video. But you wanna be able to do your searches online, find out as much information as you can about the process, but then realize that the information that you're gathering online oftentimes is general and it may not apply to your particular area. So although there are some rules and general regulations that apply nationwide, there's certain things that are very specific to every market. So yes, read, try to find as much as you can about the particular purchasing process, about the role of every professional, about what to expect, and then go back to that trusted real estate agent that you were able to find and vet, and just have a conversation with them about whatever information you have gathered that is making you have some questions about the process, or just have them take you through the whole process and educate you on what you need to know about the transacting of a new home. So the tip number 4 is when you're searching properties online and when you're sort of scouting through the inventory that's available at the moment, I want you to be aware of a couple of things. Number 1, that some of these sites are not so kept up to date. So although you may see a listing that looks like it's current, like it's available, and then you try to get an appointment and it turns out that this property has been in contract for a long time. Some listings and some particular sites are not regulated. Nobody looks to see if these properties are actually still available or not, or if they're if they're listed accordingly to, if they're representative of the truth. So make sure that when you find a listing that you're interested in, what I suggest you do is you reach out to your agent. And the reason why is two. So number one is so yeah, you can confirm that the listing is still available and that the information on it is accurate, at least as accurate as possible. And number two, that every time you click one of these buttons that says more information, request an appointment, I want to know more, unless you thoroughly screen the listing and are able to find the specific label that says property represented by or listed represented by or listing agent is, you will be connected to another buyer's agent. So the phone rings, somebody else picks up at the other end of the line. They are not the listing agent. They are just some other agent that are trying to recruit you as their buyer's agent. And if you already have a buyer's agent that you're working with, it is part of their job to screen the listings for you and to make appointments for you. So never feel like you're bothering your buyer's agent. We only get paid when you find something that you want. And so it is part of the job, and it is expected to make appointments and ask the questions that you want to know to the listing agent. Now, I want to explain a little bit why this is the case. There's usually two agents involved in every transaction. There is the listing agent, which is the person that is involved with the seller. And there's the buyer's agent. That's the agent that's representing the buyer side. Typically what happens is when a listing agent gets an exclusive agreement from a seller, meaning he gets the listing, that's what we call it on the industry. He gets an agreement that usually states like, if I sell the apartment by myself, I get 4%. If I co-broke it or if I sell it with somebody else, I get 3% and the other agent gets 3%. Therefore, it is to the advantage of the listing agent to sell that apartment directly to you. Now, you may say that could put you in our advantage where he could present you in a favorable light to the seller. Clearly his client is the seller, you're a customer, and the difference is that his loyalty lies with the seller. It's not to say that he's going to be dishonest with you or that he's going to misrepresent information, but his loyalty lies with his client, who is the seller. And that means that when the offer is put in, he's going to try to get more money for his seller. When you have a buyer's agent that's there to advocate for you, the buyer's agent's job is to get you the best deal, to make sure that you know what the process is like, to make sure that you are educated in terms of what are the next steps so that you feel calm throughout the transaction and that you know what you need to get done in order to have the deal be done successfully on your end and for you. So that's the difference. So when you call one of these listings, and if you call directly the listing agent, again, he's gonna most likely get paid more if you go direct. And number two, you won't be represented. So unless you're very familiarized with the process, I would advise you to always be represented. In addition, because being represented doesn't cost you any money. Every seller with the listed properties has already agreed to pay a percentage of the transaction to the buyer agent and to the seller's agent. So you don't have to worry about, you're not paying any extra money for getting a buyer's agent. And then the fifth piece of advice that I'm going to give to you is let your broker do the heavy lifting. What I mean by that is let them schedule your listings, let them do the screening of the properties, let them help you as much as possible. Hopefully, you will be able to develop a trusting relationship based on transparent interaction with your buyer's agent. And if that is the case, then hopefully you'll feel comfortable by knowing that they are advocating for you and that they are providing to you all of the information that you need to know in order to, number one, find the property, but number two, once you find it, be able to go through the process as smoothly as possible. Once you have an accepted offer, that's when the real work starts, especially when it comes to purchasing a co-op, because there's a lot of paperwork involved. There's going to be a lot of things that your agent is going to keep track of to make sure that the transaction keeps moving on smoothly. So I hope this has been helpful. Clearly, I am a buyer's agent working in New York. I would love to help you if you do not have a buyer's agent. But the important thing is that you find somebody that you feel you can trust, that is communicative and attentive, keeps appointments, and it's able to respond to you in a timely manner. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, call me, or text me. And I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Bye.